What is up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. Welcome to episode 46 of the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm here with my main man, Kendall, Lefty, Catalytic, McKee, and it is early for him. It's what, 7:30, 6:30?
7:31.
7:31 in the AM Eastern Time, and it's 1:31 p.m. in the Central European Time, which is where I am. So we had some scheduling that we had to work around with Labor Day. So everybody, hope you all had a good Labor Day. And Kendall, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, man, it's good. I got an energy drink. We're ready to rock and roll. I got some meetings later today, so I need to be locked in early.
Yep.
So this is just good.
Yeah, I appreciate your dedication to the show. I will say that today is actually exactly the 1-year anniversary of the Sports Card Strategy Show. So September 6th, 2021, I posted the first episode. You can go to nooffseason.com and check it out if you want to. Today's episode 46. So obviously there's been like about 6 weeks over the last year that there was not an episode.
Those
So
are sad weeks.
6 sad weeks, but hey, 1-year anniversary. So congratulations to the Sports Card Strategy Show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And excited to continue to have you as my co-host. This has been great. You haven't been here for the whole year, but you've been here for most of it. And it's only gotten better since you joined. So appreciate you, man.
I appreciate it. I'm glad that we're doing this. So
yeah, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback recently from people. Like we've got the Facebook group. We've got, obviously, people can comment on YouTube. They can leave reviews on Apple. They can hit us up on social media. And we've gotten a lot, like somebody in the Facebook group the other day said that we've got the best podcast in the App Store. That made me feel really good. I think I tagged you on that because I wanted you to see it. But I think we've gotten better and better. And I do think we have one of the best sports card podcasts out there. So I'm proud of us.
Yeah. I think we have like a good setup of what we're doing. Not to toot our own horn even more, but when I listen to a podcast, a lot of times it's aimless, and this seems strategic, which is good because it's an investing show. Should be strategic.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't really like to listen to people ramble. And I know sometimes we do, and it's like we try to make it helpful and provide value and hopefully be entertaining and stuff like that. But we try to stay structured, and we're always open to feedback, and we're always open to sponsors. We need some sponsors for the show so that we can keep this thing going. We're going to keep it going regardless of whether or not we monetize it, I think, because we both like doing it. But I think it would be nice to get some sponsors. So we'll see what happens. That's my goal for year 2 of the Sports Card Strategy Show, just so that we can provide a better product. Not that we can, not so that we can pepper you with advertisements, but so that we can dedicate ourselves by having some more revenue to provide a better product. So, but for now, I will pepper you with some advertisements. So here we go. We've got just probably the last couple days that you would use our Fantasy Dominator draft kit. Again, Andy Kaysen and I put it together. Andy from Football Card Quest and the Football Card Strategy Show. You can go premium right now at nooffseason.com. I think it would still be worth your $30 if you've got a draft today, tomorrow, or Thursday before the opening kickoff. So that's one thing. Go to nooffseason.com/fantasy. Another thing real quick is I want to let you guys know you can go premium at No Off Season for free for a year now. Yes, big news. You can go premium free for a year, and you have to email me at paul@nooffseason.com to find out how. So if you're already a member, I got something sweet for you too. Don't worry about that. But if you're not a premium member, you just haven't splurged for that $20 a month yet, I got a free year for you. Just email me at paul@nooffseason.com to find out how. So those are our advertisements for the moment. Check that stuff out. But Kendall, I'm going to get into my L of the week. It has nothing to do with sports cards, but at some level, it indirectly has to do with sports cards because it's one of the bigger things in life. Recently you were able to move into a new house with your wife, and my wife, Kate, and I are trying to move. We are going to move back to Nashville, Tennessee, the Nashville area, I will say, in December this year. I'm very excited about that. I've had a nice run in Spain for the last almost 5 years, but I'm very excited to get back to the United States. I've had a lot of people, I've talked about it on the show. I've had a lot of people reach out and say congratulations on the move, and we're excited to have you back and all that stuff. But the L of the week is that we've tried to buy like 3 different houses in the last week. We've had 3 different offers on houses. One of them, even we got the offer accepted, and we went through the process of getting everything in order, sent money to the title company, all that stuff. And then the house failed in an inspection. So long story short, my L of the week is that we have not been able to find a house yet, but our backup plan is an apartment. So we're going to be okay either way, but I didn't prepare an L of the week for cards. So I figured I would share my personal story of just the frustrating experience of trying to buy a house. Anyway, that's my L of the week.
It's such a, I mean, that's such a frustrating process, man, because I mean, you almost, with the housing market the way it is, you almost have to be there right when it goes on sale or right when it goes on the market. And you guys are trying to look at homes from 30,000 feet, you know? And
yeah, we're trying to look at homes from across the ocean, and we've got a team of parents and realtors and brothers helping us out. But it's weird. It's hard.
I don't envy that.
Yeah. RealTracks is a great website, obviously, but photos can be deceiving. As we all know about, this will segue us back to cards. As we all know, in cards, photos can be deceiving, just like houses. So, Kendall, do you have an L of the week?
I do. I have a few.
Okay. Let's go.
My first one is, I was looking back on some stuff that we did a couple of months ago. And I don't know if this isn't a true L of the week, but I think it's an unfortunate of the week, I guess, if that makes sense. It's a U of the week. So you guys, or do you remember when I was talking to you about Antony Gordon?
Yeah.
The soccer player. So
from Ajax, who transferred to Man U. Is that
No,
the same guy?
that's
Oh no, that's a
Antony.
different guy. That's Antony.
Yeah. Here, let me.
You're talking about the guy from, was it Everton?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I remember
So
that.
Antony Gordon plays for Everton. He's 21 years old. He plays. He's an attacking player. Plays kind of all over the attacking side of the pitch. But Everton is my team. But so they've had a weird run recently. But Gordon, last, like, probably 6 or 7 months ago, I was like, I think this guy might be a good pickup if we could potentially find any of his cards. And we found out that he basically only has a couple stickers, and even with that, it's like not any premium stickers or anything like that. So my U of the week is that he's playing really well. And there was like some speculation transfer rumor of like 60 million euros that was going to go to Manchester United, I'm sorry, Chelsea, and they were looking at swapping him and stuff. And I was like, man, if Gordon had cards, this would have been a sweet turn, because then he comes out and has a nice goal for Everton last week, and then he's just playing really well. They're playing without Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now, and so Gordon's prices would have skyrocketed in the last couple of weeks because of the transfer rumors, because of the speculation, because of the way he's playing. And I'm just watching this guy thinking, this is fantastic. Like, I'm super happy for him, but I was on something, and the card industry did not allow me to capitalize on this
that's
player.
a good one, man. I'm glad you brought that up. So for those of you following Kendall's story here, I mean, to me, the punchline is like, some guys don't have cards. Some guys don't have cards, and some guys don't have investable cards. So that's another level. And I think he probably falls into both of those categories. But then I think, yeah. So I mean, there's a third category that is like I think was a problem last year with basketball and football, and sometimes in Bowman draft where everyone knows the guy is the hot guy, but he doesn't have cards out yet. So then when his cards come out, we're all priced out,
Yeah.
so we have to try to get him in a break or something. So, but back to your situation. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it's like, you knew about this guy, you made the call, you were right. But he didn't really have any cards, right? Did you end up getting a sticker? Or I remember there was like a
No.
sticker, but I don't know if it was,
So here,
investment.
let me share my screen here.
Yeah. Okay.
So, share screen. This is like the only one that's really available.
Mhm.
And of course, obviously, I'd have to buy it in British pounds, but then I'd have to ship it here.
Ship it. Yeah.
Like, I mean, so it's like $20 shipping, $20 card, and it's just a under 18, like Panini Football 2020. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for me to have this. And
No, it wouldn't.
I'm pretty sure a couple of months ago this was like $15. So I mean, it's not up a $3 thing, and I wouldn't get that $20 shipping back. It just didn't make sense for me to be able to try to invest in this guy. I mean, if you go back to the search results, it's just apparently he's going to potentially be in the next set, which is fine. But I mean, it's like match attacks and Premier League stuff, like, but then he just has a bunch of autoed pictures, which is cool. I mean, obviously those are going for some money, but I don't know. I was just sad about it, man. I was a
So
little,
before we get to your next L or you, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
I will say, like, I feel for you on this. This was kind of my Pedri a couple years ago, because a couple years ago when the 2020 Mega Cracks and Este stickers came out here in Spain, I was buying up a bunch of Pedri base Mega Cracks and stickers, and probably bought them at like $5 each from a local guy here that I would meet.
Oh yeah,
We'd
yeah.
meet up
I
in
remember that.
person. Yeah, and I'd pay him in cash for soccer stuff. And I was all excited about Pedri, and my plan was I'm going to come home. I'm going to send him to SGC or PSA. Ended up sending him into SGC because PSA was closed. And I was able to turn him around and then sell him, but at the end of everything, it was just a break even. It was a lot of effort to break even, because let's say I bought 10 different base Pedri cards and stickers, paid $30 each at SGC to get them graded. They came back at 9s and 9.5s, maybe 110, mostly 9s and 9.5s. Basically, they each sold for essentially exactly what I paid for them, including the grading costs. So it was like, and since then, there's been all these other like actual investable Pedri cards with, obviously the Topps Chrome Champions League autos, the Merlin autos, the Museum, like all those from 2020 and 2021 are far more investable than going back to his original Mega Cracks and Este sticker. So it's kind of the same situation that you're talking about with Gordon. My hope for you, obviously, is that you can end up sniping one of his autos or serial numbered, maybe something with the RC logo on it if he does have one eventually, and you can end up still being right and able to monetize that call. But it's definitely an issue. It's definitely kind of sucks for sports card investors that know what they're doing. So
yeah, I was kind of upset about it. I mean, obviously I'm upset about it.
all right, what else you got?
So my other L of the week has to do. So I'm on a couple different like things at this point with just baseball. Have I talked about my candy NFTs on this show?
You've mentioned that you have some involvement, but you have not elaborated.
Okay, well, here's an L of the week.
Okay.
So last year when Candy launched their NFT line in reference to the MLB season, like they dropped the series 1, they dropped like a what they called in reference to prospects, they had like a prospect line they were putting out. I was pretty excited about it. I mean, I have like experience in NFTs, in cryptocurrency, and then alternative investments, and then sports cards. And we've talked about how the vault makes this kind of like an interesting decision.
Sure.
So I was already kind of interested in this idea about a year ago. So I got in with Candy, and I was like, okay, cool. I have a friend that works for Candy. And so she was like giving me some information about like when it was going to drop and stuff. And so I was like, great. I got it all excited. And, I got funds ready. I sold some other assets so that I could potentially put some into this. I expected a big rise. So I mean, I honestly went hard in it, like
Okay. And when
I,
did you go hard? It dropped like last February or
so there was a big drop in February, but then there was an initial drop like 5 to 6 months before that,
okay.
of like their first round so the one in February was like the 2022 MLB season drop or whatever. So I did buy some of those, but I didn't go hard there. I went real hard in the prospects. Basically, it would have been the equivalent of the Bowman first Chromes, but it would also have been Candy's first like prospect set. So I mean, the prospect set that they had was like 30 to 35, I think, prospects, and it was like I think it was 30 because it was from one player from each team was considered their like premier prospect, and then they made a prospect NFT card with it, and then they came out with it. And so I invested pretty heavily there because I was pretty excited about it. Well, a year later or whatever, I've lost like probably like $6,000
Okay.
in
Ouch.
this. Yeah. And it was all like stuff that it was all funds that I created from within the hobby already. So I was already dealing with house money kind of.
Yeah.
But I thought this was going to really like vault itself up. I thought it was going to be really popular. Their branding looks really good. I really like, what they're doing. It seems like they just didn't have, maybe they overproduced it or something. I don't know. I feel like the first round of things was really good. And then what I did was there was like a chaser thing too, where if you got all the prospects, then there was like a chase card at the end that they gave you, which I got. And that card's worth like between $500 and $1,000. So I'm gonna be able
Okay.
to get, I'm gonna be able to get some of my money back, and it's actually a really cool looking, it's a really cool looking Julio Rodriguez card. But my overall like thing, I'm really excited about what they're doing. I think that market is really cool, but I just went a little too hard into it. I think like I didn't temper my expectations, and I just didn't do it wisely, I guess, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. And so if you guys are listening to me, my L of the week is that I went into it with no strategy, and I just went into it just like buying things that I thought would go up, and it was just not that, it didn't happen like that. So
So is
um,
Candy and and the baseball, it's baseball NFTs, is it all down, or is it that you made decision that some stuff's up, but the stuff that you have is down?
um
Like, is it all? Because I don't know really anything about it. I bought some Top Shot a couple years ago, and not that much, but just a little bit. And I haven't even really paid attention to Top Shot since. And I assume it's somewhat like that, but I don't know. Like, I really don't know anything about it. So is it that like the whole thing is down and like it's that like the whole thing kind of sucks, or is it that like you think it could come back and maybe just some of the stuff that you have is down?
so well, prices are down on pretty much everything. So for instance, last year I ended up pulling two Bobby Witt Juniors for uncut diamonds. That's what the brand, the little like prospecting element was the uncut diamonds. I pulled 2 common, like just the bottom of the rack, Bobby Witt Juniors. So I ended up selling one of them for $300. And so I was like, that is awesome. If I can just keep doing that, that's fine. The pack itself was like 600, and I think it comes with like 3 or 4 NFTs. And so I was like, cool. If I can just keep like doing this, this is a common card, and you get at least an uncommon card every time. Well, then like I was realizing that people were chasing the chase, and as soon as our wallet had to be verified with all of our NFTs in there, as soon as that like got approved, everybody was just trying to dump their NFTs, which just tanked the market share. And so they are still moving. I'll say that. So I went through this week and I basically put every one of my NFTs that I had, except for like a couple, on for sale, because I was like, I just need to get something back. And so I think that the cheapest uncut gems or uncut diamond that I ended up purchasing was like $40, I think. And I have sold 3 of them this week for 48 cents. So just, yeah, I will.
Sorry, dude.
But I did sell like a couple this week for like 25, 30, $40. So, I mean, there's still a market for it. I just think I really do think I bought at the worst time possible. So,
yeah,
I mean, I bought when all the hype was ridiculous, but I do have this cool uncut diamonds, icon chaser that it's now Julio. It's a Julio Rodriguez card. So like, I'm kind of hoping that maybe this one will get kind of nuts when he wins Rookie of the Year this year. Let me share. Sorry. So like, this is the uncut gem experience. So like, this is it.
Okay. Nice.
It's kind of sick. Like, this was the icon chaser. So this is mine. It's number 12 of 143. So basically I have like a Bowman Chrome auto with a cool little clip to it. And the cheapest one went for $494, and the most expensive one went for, well, that's listed, $479, and the highest one went for $1,000. So
that's cool.
I'm kind of hoping this one will go up. It's got some cool details to it that you can look into. But
now for the candy NFTs, is it easy to get your money out in US dollars and currency, or no?
That's another issue with it. Like,
yeah.
So I have to take, it's sitting in this wallet or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you take a big, like, basically like a capital gains tax on it.
Okay.
When you sell, but then also the way that they cash you out is a money order that you also take the hit on. So like, so the first time I cashed out for like $400 or something like that, because I was able to get some of the stuff out. And when I did that, it was like, okay, you're gonna have to pay, $50 to get this. You're like, the tax on it was like $50. And I was like, okay, it's $350. It's still something. And then I get into my bank account and I look at like my Chase Bank is like minus $15 from like a Western Union type place.
Right.
And I was like, son of a, like, they're just milking me dry over here.
That sucks. That sucks.
I'm still a fan of what they've done and what they've accomplished, and like what the product looks like and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think they're doing cool stuff and it's innovative, but like, I've been burned by the innovation.
So I'd like to know from the audience, like, let us know your thought on when you're burned. I think it's hard to buy low. Like, I think even if you believe in it, still in the long term, like, the good investment strategy says, okay, well, if you still believe in it, you should still keep buying it, because then it's like, it's lower now, right? But then I think I'd like to know everyone's thoughts on, just investment strategy versus like emotion on that. And then I also think too, a separate topic that I'd like to know everyone's thoughts on is like Kendall went all in, right? And I think like a lot of times we hear people that have made a lot of money. So you've got like your Ray Dalios, your Tony Robbinses, your Gary Vaynerchuk's, your other people, Mark Cuban, and they'll tell you, don't quote me, like I'm paraphrasing things that these people have said. They'll tell you like when you have done your research and when you have a gut feeling, like to go all in, because they've each had scenarios in their life where they knew something was going to blow up and they didn't go as all in as they should have. Right. But I think that that's just like super risky because, these are people that have also gone all in and lost a lot of money, like in the same way, Kendall shared his story. And so I'm just kind of curious to hear the audience's experience with that. So I'd love to know. It's hard. Kendall, do you have anything else related to the L of the week, or can we move on to the W?
No, yeah, I would just say like it was a gut feeling for me. And I was listening to all that stuff thinking, okay, this could be the 100x return.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be the 100x return. No one's really on this yet. I feel really good. I feel like the world is going in this direction. Sports cards, I feel like, are going in this direction. And even now, I feel like the sports cards are going in this direction.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I mean, I'm not super upset about it because, like if you never, Wayne Gretzky, you miss all the shots you don't shoot or whatever he said. So
yeah, we gotta chalk it up, I think, a little bit to entertainment, a little bit to learning experience, and got to keep taking shots. So Greeny Green, good morning. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you joining. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. We're gonna move on to our W of the week. So mine, I've got a few. I'll be fast. One of them was Donovan Mitchell. I didn't necessarily predict that he would get traded to the Cavaliers, but in our sports card investment report, I did get the call right in terms of when to buy him and when to get rid of him. And we had a comment in the Facebook group, actually really good feedback about the website. And it said, you guys should track your when nooffseason.com was a fantasy football website, I called it, we were right about, we were wrong about. And every Monday I would write, the first thing that would come out every Monday morning was what we were right about from our predictions from the previous week and what we were wrong about. And it was fun. Like I had a lot of fun doing that. And it's been harder to do with this iteration of nooffseason.com because not only are there so many player profiles, but there's such a large window to be right or wrong. But I do feel like we're making a lot of really good calls on the website. And, we get some stuff wrong too, but I would like to find out a way to sort of document when we're right and when we're wrong. So I think maybe one way that I'll do that in the meantime, before I figure out how best to do it on the website, is to talk about it in the W and the L of the week. So W of the week was a Donovan Mitchell play. If you were in the website, you kind of know more about that. Another W of the week is, so my son Max and I are going to do a boys trip to the London NFL game this year on October 30th to see the Jags.
That's awesome.
Broncos. And we were looking at maybe like we were trying to figure out like what's an activity on the 29th in London. And the London Card Show is happening on October 29th. So
yeah,
we are going to be there. My understanding is that the UK has not had that many card shows, like that card shows are super new, like within the last year to the UK. And I've just been literally out on an island over here and like not really being able to go to card shows other than the National when I was back this summer. And so I am super excited that not only is it, in London, but that and I can speak English and actually see sports cards and hold them in my hand, but that it's actually, we're going to be there anyway. So we don't have to make an extra trip. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be sweet. I'll be documenting more about that for the show and for the YouTube channel. So another W of the week along those lines is a really nice guy named Isaac reached out to me. He's putting together the Minnesota Card Show, calling it the greatest card show on turf. And it's going to be June 1st through 4th at US Bank Stadium, June 1st through 4th, 2023, of course. And a 4-day event. I'm going to get involved. I'm officially involved. So Isaac, this is one of your many shout outs that you're going to get from nooffseason.com and the Sports Card Strategy Show. I don't know to what extent I'm going to be involved, but I believe at the very least, I'll be a media credential. I will be living in the United States at that time, and I will 99% be making the trip to cover the card show for the Sports Card Strategy Show and nooffseason.com. So not sure if you guys are familiar with the Minnesota Card Show yet, but check it out. Go to cardshowmn.com, and we'll be talking more about it here on the Sports Card Strategy Show.
So Paul, let me go back to the London show. So did you watch this video closely on this London card show?
No, I mean, not really, but I'm watching it now. What's your take?
They're all American. Everybody in that video is American. Like you look at, no one's dressed like an English person. You know, they are actually showing F1 and soccer cards quite a bit. You know, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I think they did that strategically. But I would assume, and I think you might have said this is the first one.
I think it might be the second one. Because I heard on Soccer Cards United podcast, those guys talked about a London card show that they went to in the spring, I think. I want to say maybe May is when I was listening to their show. And I think they said that was the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think the Soccer Cards United guys are probably going to be at this one. I think Tyler from Card Talk said he was going to go. So I'd love to meet up with all of those guys or anybody going. It's funny that you said everyone's American. I mean, you might be right. It's obviously like if you're on the East Coast of the States, it's not going to be that big of a trip. I mean, it's kind of a reasonable trip for anybody on the East Coast. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of Americans there, especially at this. I mean, I don't know about the last one, but I think at this one, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they strategically had it around the NFL game, because then you've got a lot of Americans there anyway for the NFL game, right? So I don't know if they did that on purpose. If they did, that was super smart, I think.
So are you going to unvault some of your stuff and try to move it?
No, that's way too costly, because I would have to. Max asked me that. My son asked me that. But if I shipped stuff from the vault to Spain, I think first of all, it would be way too expensive. It would ruin all my margins. And secondly, I don't even know if it would get here on time because Spanish customs and whatnot. So I'm definitely not going to do that. Everything in the vault is to sell on eBay. And I'm just going to go browse and see if there's anything I want to buy and just have fun. So
yeah, that could be a really unique market, man, because like I'm just assuming that everybody's going to show up wanting soccer cards and, you know, F1 probably. But then part of me is like, man, if you happen to grab a table and you sold only baseball cards, you might be the only place that they could potentially get it. You know, like I know there is some Topps UK stuff that goes out and stuff, you know, some things like that. I'm not saying like I'm completely ignorant to the fact that there are ways you can get cards in England. But I'm just saying like that might be a cool little niche opportunity for, you know, for at least a couple of years about how you could go over there and sell NFL cards and stuff like that. So
absolutely. My gut tells me that there's not going to be much arbitrage because everyone is super knowledgeable these days. Obviously with being able to look things up online and look up sold listings on eBay, even if you don't know anything about a particular sport, if something's serial numbered, if something's a variation or autographed, you're going to look it up. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you and I walking around at the National, like you made money on a Gunnar Henderson. You made some plays on some soccer cards that people just had listed and we're kind of trying to get rid of. So I think once fatigue starts to play a role at a card show by the seller, then I think that's when you can maybe get some arbitrage. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll report back. I'll do some digging at the London show, and probably not going to be many of you over in the States that are going to be able to go to the London show. So I'm excited to have a little exclusive access, if you will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
How
All right.
much
So
was the flight to England?
Pretty cheap for me. I don't know off the top of my head, but pretty cheap for me from Spain. So, buy of the week, best card to buy right now and why, brought to you by Market Movers app by Sports Card Investor. Kendall and I, every week, we look at our premium subscription to Market Movers, which you can save. You can get your first month for only $1 at marketmoversapp.com. And we go to this deals section of Market Movers for this segment. We encourage you to use the promo code NOOFFSEASON at marketmoversapp.com to get that first month for only $1. It's a great tool. So, long story short, this LeBron James 2005 Topps Chrome Refractor BGS 9.5 is almost $400 cheaper than its last sale. And I like that one. It's still $1,350, but it's a really, really nice LeBron James gem mint card. That's going to be my buy of the week. I didn't get a chance to really talk about LeBron a lot in the basketball card strategy show that I did with Gary from Hoops and Cards last week. Go check that out. We talked a lot about Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs and that whole deal, because that basically happened right before the show. I was going to spend most of the show talking about LeBron cards and what a great opportunity it is right now to buy LeBron here in early September, while attention's all on football. I like a lot of the things that the Lakers have done this offseason, especially I think trading for Pat Beverly speaks to me as a move to win now. Now, whether or not they will win now is, remains to be seen. But if they do win, then LeBron's cards will go up. And even if they don't win, it's LeBron. And I know you've talked about him before, Kendall. I know you like LeBron as an investment. We've moved him up to number 1 on our sports card investment report at nooffseason.com for all of these reasons I'm talking about. So I could talk about some Darius Garland cards. I could talk even about a Michael Jordan card I saw, but I'm going to focus on LeBron James and just go a little bit away from 2003. This is his 3rd year card, but it's a Topps Chrome Gem Mint Refractor out of $9.99. Not cheap, but I could see it having some spikes in value over this next year. And LeBron is a flippable guy this year, I believe, and he's a long-term hold, and that's why he's our number 1. For more, go to nooffseason.com, click on LeBron James. Kendall, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm all there, obviously, with you. With LeBron. I get excited just when you mention LeBron James, because I wish I had deeper pockets so that I could go heavier into LeBron James, because he would. I mean, I'm a huge fan. So I was at a wedding this weekend, and that's why we didn't do the Labor Day show yesterday. And so this guy sat down, and he sat down across from me, and these people are arguing about who's the best performer of all time between Beyonce and Michael Jackson. And they're like, I'm not in this conversation. I'm completely like we're at this table, and it's a long table. So they're on this side, and I'm talking like this way with a couple of my buddies. And I can hear what's going on. It's getting pretty heated. And I'm just like, man, I don't care at all about that conversation. And then all of a sudden, my buddy's like, yo, Kenny. And I'm like, I don't care, AJ. And so I look over, I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I need to know your thoughts. And I thought he meant about about
Beyonce versus Michael
Beyonce
Jackson.
versus Michael Jackson, and I was about to just start roasting him about like who cares, and then he goes, LeBron or Michael Jordan, and I was like, oh, now we're talking, and then there was just like a whole mix of culture as well, because this wedding was like Brazilians, there was Turkish people there was Americans, and then so it was like, I mean, it was a very broad topic, and from a lot of different perspectives. And I said, okay, well, I got to ask some more questions. You can't just say LeBron versus Michael. Are we talking cards? Are we talking like GOAT status? Are we talking like best player ever? Are we talking, what are we actually saying here? And he was like, out of those dudes, who's the best basketball player, well-rounded? And that's where I think he messed up. He said, which one is the most well-rounded player? And I was like, oh, that's easy. It's LeBron for sure. Because if you're talking about well-rounded player, Michael Jordan is fantastic. And I'm sure I'm going to get some heat on this.
I'm sure you will.
I'm sure I'm going to get some heat on this because I'm young and they're going to be like, you never watched Jordan play. Anyway, Jordan was a fantastic scorer. Probably just like clutch factor out off the roof, But this guy said well-rounded. And when I look at LeBron, I'm like, there's not an aspect of the game he struggles with, really. I mean, he used to struggle with free throws and shooting, and he fixed that. LeBron, I think, is the most rounded player that I've ever watched play basketball. From passing to shooting to to game IQ to explosiveness. His dunks are incredible. He can play defense. Think about the block in Game 6. I think. LeBron all over the page is just off the charts. And then if you even add well-rounded outside of the game, the dude's a great businessman. He's a great father. Blah, blah. He's probably going to be a GM. I am so high on LeBron. So anyway, I'm just excited he brought him up.
I like the LeBron love. I mean, I'd like to know. I think this is a conversation for the comments. Let us know what you think. Who is more well-rounded? I like Kendall's qualifier there. That's a good one. This is a tough one for me. I think I'm gonna have to chime in on the comments because I'm 41 years old. I've seen Michael Jordan play and I've seen LeBron play, and I've seen them play in the same year. When Jordan came back in 2003, 2004 season, I believe, for the Wizards. I was at his first ever preseason game at the Palace of Auburn Hills for the Wizards, and that was LeBron's rookie year. So, so there's a lot there, and there's LeBron's obviously not done, so it's a tough one. Greeny Green says Jordan's head is more well-rounded. LeBron's game is more well-rounded. Well said, Greeny Green. I love it. And on that note, let's go to Kendall's buy of the week. What do you got for us, Kendall?
So my buy of the week here is a Christian Pulisic. If you look at some of his cards, this is just the stuff that you can find on Market Movers, which is Market Movers is a great app. But what I'm suggesting here is that this is just a window into a good opportunity to get the best American player at a cheaper price. And I think if you are able to go to shows or if you're able to go to, Twitter or Facebook, I think you could find even better deals than this on some Christian Pulisic cards. This is a select Christian Pulisic RC and, a Pulisic Panini RC. But these are legit PSA 10s, RC logos of Christian Pulisic that are probably going to sell for much more than $399 and $225 in a couple of months. And Christian is going to get an incredible amount of airtime, an incredible amount of run. And right now, there's this like weird news about him and Chelsea, and he's not starting. I mean, he did start on this weekend, but there's like this. People are like kind of down on him right now, and I'm like, man, that's sad, but also a great opportunity to get in on the best, most marketable American player. And I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still there. Right now, like my buy of the week would still be Christian Pulisic as we're building towards the World Cup. There might not be a player more marketable during the World Cup in our country. And so I'm saying, I'm not even only talking Americans, but he's going to get a hell of a lot of run in terms of like media and commercials, and like they're going to brand it all over the place. He's going to be the guy in the pictures, like Pulisic is going to be our guy and probably is going to score some pretty fantastic goals at the World Cup. And if not that, he's going to be just a damn good facilitator as well. I watched the game in person against Morocco a couple of months ago. And when he like just slotted it over to Brennan Aronson and Brennan Aronson took it in, like Brennan Aronson, one of my favorite Americans. I mean, we've talked about that, but at the same time, Pulisic like slotting it across for an absolute sweat. Like, it was just, I mean, it was filthy. Like I was watching Pulisic and I was watching the way he like goes about leading this team. And I was just like, man, this guy is Captain America at this point. And so, yeah, I think you cannot make an easier decision on an American national team player when the guy who is the guy in America is down. You got to go get him. So go get yourself a Pulisic card.
I could not agree with you more. If I weren't trying to scrape together every penny right now to buy a house, I would be buying Christian Pulisic. He's down in the market for reasons that make a lot of sense. And there's a ton of reasons that he's going to skyrocket in the market in 6 weeks. And so I think now is the time to buy him. You've said it. You said it, I think, while I was out. I think you said it with Andy. I think this, and I'm glad that you're continuing to say it. I've moved him up in the soccer card rankings at nooffseason.com. It's just a perfect time to buy him. He's the perfect guy to buy. He might be the top 3 athlete in all of sports cards to buy right now. And it seems, I don't know him very well in terms of like, I haven't followed his who he is as a person and like how he plays, but my intuition tells me that he'll be playing with a huge chip on his shoulder also in this World Cup.
That is also him.
Okay, so that is him. Okay, yeah, so that's perfect. I love chip on the shoulder people in general in life and in sports.
Do you remember watching Donovan play?
I love it.
Do you remember watching Landon Donovan
I don't.
play? Okay, so Landon Donovan just played with this giant, like, I'm an American who's going to prove to everybody that Americans can play soccer. That's pretty much Pulisic's DNA. Like when they played against Mexico and like they were, like he was saying that Ochoa said something to the effect of like Mexico looks in the mirror and wishes they were Mexico, or USA looks in the mirror and wishes they were Mexico. And then Pulisic scored and then took his shirt off and said, "I'm the man in the mirror." He's like, he literally wrote on his shirt, "Man in the mirror." Like he's like, I don't want to be you. I want to be me, and I'm killing it. And I'm like, oh my God, this dude is sick. And like him and Gio Reyna and all those guys that are come up together are super close. I just think this is going to be a fun team to watch. And I know people are hating all the time when I say this, but I think they have some synergy that's going to be very, very hard to beat. And I see them coming out. I see them getting second in the group. I think they can beat Iran and Wales. And then I think they are a dangerous team that you do not want to play. I'll just put it that way.
It'll be fun. I love it. All right, so that's our buys of the week. LeBron James from me and Christian Pulisic from Kendall. Brought to you by MarketMoversApp.com by Sports Card Investor. That's where we pull the data. And you can get your first month for only $1. That's what I want you to do. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON. Quick shout out to my guy Jim Second Alarm Comics. Welcome to the live show. It's interesting. We've got about the same number of live viewers that we normally get when we go a couple hours later in the day. This is early for the US. Maybe people are catching it before they get into their work groove. I'm not sure, but Jim and I, for those of you who don't remember, some of you may remember, my L of the week was Oscar Piastri cracked slab from PWCC. And glad that all actually worked out where Jim got his refund from eBay. I got my refund from PWCC. Jim, don't worry. I've got Oscar Piastri cards at PSA. They're in stage 7. Most of you know what that is. It's QA2, and the next stage is the final stage 8 where they ship that bad boy back to you. So, Jim, it's like any minute now, I'll be able to offer you some more Oscar Piastri cards. So appreciate you watching and commenting. Great to see you.
And they officially, McLaren, my F1 team, officially have Piastri in the grid next year.
Finally, let's go. That's going to be great. All right, so let's go to who to sell now. Kendall, why don't you go first? Because I've got 2, and then that way, if you pick one of mine, I'll go to the other one.
Yeah, I think so. Right now is a really cool opportunity to where there's a lot of synergy going on. I talked about last couple of weeks about how it was my least favorite time of the year for baseball, because it was just playing boring games. Well, now we're at a unique time where football's kicking off, basketball is like kind of kicking off, and then you've got baseball moving into September, which means that the bad teams are calling up players that they can now move on to the active roster, which I can explain that if you want me to, but there's an opportunity to bring up youth players or not youth players, soccer on the brain, but minor league players can be moved into the active roster in September. And there's a lot of cool synergy going on. But with that, my sell of the week. So the Mariners are a team that are really, really trying to make the playoffs. They've got a lot of synergy going on. They're a couple. I think they're in the wild card race as of right now. The other day I looked at it and they were. But there's a lot of really good American League teams that are right around that wild card spot that are going to be playing meaningful games down the edge of September, going into the early October and going into the playoffs. And I believe the Mariners will hold on to a wild card spot. They've got great players all over the field. We've talked about J-Rod already this week. But there's a guy that used to have a whole lot of card appeal named Jared Kelenic, who has been in the minor leagues with them.
I remember not too long ago.
Yeah. And everybody, another guy I missed on. But Jared Kelenic has been in AAA all year, and it's done okay. It's weird because he gets the yips when he comes up to the majors. He goes back down and he plays fine in AAA. He comes back up and he just struggles. And so there's something mentally off about Kelenic at the major league level. And I mean, honestly, he might need a change of scenery, or maybe he just needs an off season to just get right, or I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I was thinking, okay, this could be a cool opportunity for Kelenic cards to go back up, because he might get called up in September. But I also knew they might just keep him down just to be like, okay, we're just going to get you right. We're not going to worry about the playoff pressure and all that, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to get you right in AAA. So they did pass on Jared Kelenic coming up in September, and they brought up Taylor Trammell. So Taylor or Trammell or Trammell, however you want to say it. So Taylor got brought up instead. Taylor did have some prospect pedigree over probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And then his cards are in Cincinnati, but he's in the top 25 on Sports Card Investors top tracker. So right now, Taylor Trammell did get brought up. I would say there are some people out there that probably invested in him pretty heavily. He's a prospect that's moved a lot. And now would be the opportunity for you to probably get out of Taylor Trammell if you still have Bowman first crumbs that you're looking to move. He's done okay this year, and I think now would be a great opportunity for you to get as much as you can out of him. And so he is my sell of the week is Taylor. I think it's probably not going to get any better for him. I think he's a stopgap for when Kellenic figures it out. And I do also think they bring in somebody in the offseason because they thought they were going to try to bring in Soto. That didn't work. So they're going to try to do something. So there you go.
I love it because it's pattern recognition, and what you're doing right now with the audience is you're helping them understand this other pattern of call-ups in September. So to try to track call-ups in September, any guys that you might be holding or have held for a while because you've ripped a box of Bowman or, whatever it may be. Maybe you bought a single and the guy didn't pan out. And you're holding them. That's great because there's always going to be a couple different call-up windows, right? One is coming out of spring training. You're monitoring that. Another one, there might, obviously early on in the season, teams are trying to figure out rosters, injuries happen. And then this other one, and like, don't sleep on September, early September, basically. That's a great one. So the pattern recognition of sports card investing, especially with baseball, I think is huge because I think if you miss the call-up window, the prices plummet. So I really like what you're saying there. And that kind of goes along with my sell. So my first sell of the week is Donovan Mitchell, basically for the same reason, but it has to do with being traded. So I said this on the Basketball Card Strategy show briefly with Gary last week, but Donovan Mitchell, people holding him have been holding him for over a year. He's been in no man's land in Utah. He was obviously in the playoffs the season previous to last year, but he was like injured. He didn't play in game one of a series. It was just he didn't want to be there basically. So he's 26 point per game scorer. He's a dominant guard, even though he's only 6'1", and he's still in his mid 20s. So he's got a huge career ahead of him. And we were all waiting to see where he would get traded. Everybody thought it was going to be New York. Even though it's not New York, it's still the time to get rid of Donovan Mitchell, especially if you've been holding him. You're just not going to see much more from his cards unless he leads the Cavs to the NBA Finals, which I'm actually not ruling that out because I do like the Cavs, but I think that that's like very unlikely. So I think you need to sell Donovan Mitchell right now. And then I think in the graphs and charts I was showing you from Sports Card Investor is just one card in particular that's up since the trade. The other person is Serena Williams. I think with, we're probably, because of the hype cycle of this past week's US Open being her last tournament of her career, we're probably ending that hype cycle. So I'm saying this on Tuesday, September 6th. Her prices are still up, according to Sports Card Investor. And that makes a lot of sense because of the attention that she got, with all the celebrities coming out to her last tournament and stuff like that. But according to Sports Card Investor, a couple of these base 2003 NetPro cards are up, and I would sell my Serena stock right now just because when else is there going to be something where Serena's in the news and people are searching for her on eBay?
Yeah, I would think that this, it is probably quickly going to be a situation where you're going to have a buyback opportunity if you do sell Serena right now.
Absolutely.
Because I do think there's we've talked about vaulting and stuff and putting some goats back. Serena is a goat for sure. Yep. Bona fide, and people love Serena. Therefore, her cards are always going to have some sort of a market. And so I think if you could reposition right now, I think that would be a cool opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. Love that addition. Very valuable to the audience there, Kendall. Nice job. Ziggy,
I got one more
from Sports Card Show. Hello, good morning, Ziggy. Just real quick, Kendall. Ziggy, you and I are all in a card content creators live fantasy football draft. It's going to be
tonight, right?
Technically today for you guys. I think it's at like 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Mm-hmm. You guys are going to be, you might be tired because you got up early with me today, Kendall, but It's going to be 3 a.m. for me, bro. So it's going to be 3 a.m. So Ziggy, get ready. I'll be ready to draft against you at 3 a.m. I'm excited. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So just had to give Ziggy the shout out. He's a loyal viewer of the show and a great content creator himself. So hello, Ziggy.
So I was just going to add one more thing to the Donovan Mitchell buy. Making draft excuse already, man.
Yep, draft excuses.
Making
draft excuses. That's me.
So I also think it's a great time to sell Colin Sexton. So
okay.
like that's the other side of the trade. But Colin Sexton's numbers are up as well. I just tuned in again to look at some of his cards on Market Movers, and they're up. You know, I would say this is also a time to get out of Sexton. I believe in him, and I believe that he's got a good game, but the Jazz are going to be horrific over the next couple of years, and Sexton's value is probably not going to go up. So if you have the opportunity to also get out there, go for it.
The Jazz are rebuilding. They're getting a bunch of draft picks. Sexton happened in the trade because they've got to put some kind of a product on the floor, but I think it's just ridiculous to think that Sexton's going to do anything. So I agree. I think Sexton is a sell. Garland, Ziggy asked about Darius Garland. He just listed a few. Okay. I would hold Garland. I love, I've been on the record as saying, I think I said like almost a year ago, not quite a year ago, that I think Garland is the next Steph Curry. That's obviously like a big ballsy statement that Ziggy probably would give me crap for, trying to get clickbait type stuff. That's fine. It is a little bit clickbaity to say that, but I love Garland. Gary and I have talked a lot about him on Hoops and Cards and on Basketball Card Strategy Show. Garland's interesting because at first I thought it was a negative thing that he's Upper Deck exclusive autos. Now in hindsight, I'm kind of like, you know what? The fact that he's Upper Deck exclusive autos actually means that he doesn't have as many investable rookie cards, which I've learned is a good thing, especially in for an ultra modern player. So I see Garland and Mitchell being 1A and 1B to each other. I don't think Mitchell's necessarily better than Garland. I think Garland is a star in his own right. He was an all-star last year. And I think this actually makes Garland better because it gives the Cavs a stronger team and a stronger chance for Garland to go further in the playoffs. So I think that I like Garland more, and I would hold him. He's the hold out of that trade. Gary from Hoops and Cards makes a bunch of other really good points about like how that he said that he thinks it positively affects Jalen Brunson's value because everybody thought Mitchell was going to go to the Knicks. And so maybe they were a little bit leery on Brunson. Now I think Brunson is the guy in New York in terms of, the guy in the backcourt. So that's an interesting take. There's actually a lot more to that trade, and I'd love to know what you guys think about it in the comments. We don't have that much more time to talk about it on this show, but we'll keep the content coming around that at nooffseason.com. So let's go over to Would You Rather, Kendall. So I've got a Would You Rather for you. And it's got to be a quick one because we got to get to the gauntlet. So I barely thought about this, but it was relevant to me and to you based on some of the things you've recently said to me about your newfound interest in F1. So would you rather go to the London NFL game and the London Card Show and potentially see a Premier League game while you're in London, all in the same trip? I'm probably not going to be able to go to a Premier League game also, but I'm definitely doing the London NFL game and the London Card Show. Or would you rather go to an F1 race at the venue of your choice, which means like the country of your choice also, right?
Okay.
Or would you rather go to the World Series? And I have to say that the Texas Rangers would not be in it because that would be a dead giveaway. If I allowed you to pick a World Series with the Texas Rangers in it, I would think that would have to be what you would pick.
I love London. Love London. And I've been to the World Series twice.
Ooh, nice.
And I don't think I'm as into F1 as I want to be when I'm there. Like, I think, I've watched Drive to Survive. I've watched a couple of races. Like, I watched this weekend's race. I'm excited about Monza coming up this weekend. I'm positioning myself to be really, really into it, like watching qualies and everything next season when Piastri and Norris are driving both for McLaren. Like, first off, I'm super lit about that. But with Ricardo, like, not driving well or whatever, I'm just trying to gather a bunch of, like, I'm trying to figure out which podcasts I like and which, like, Twitter accounts. WTF1 is, like, definitely where you should be spending a lot of your time in the Twitterverse. It's hilarious, most of it. So I would say that right now I'm not ready to go to an F1 race because I'm not sure that I would be able to experience it like I want to. Like, I can't, like, really have an appreciation for what's going on yet. I don't think. So I'm going to leave that there because I think someday I'll really appreciate that. And I would probably go to Austin first in the race in Austin or Miami, or I know that the Las Vegas now has a race, I'm pretty sure. So there are some American races, but I would love to see the one in Morocco. That street race in Morocco I think that's where it's at. Super cool. Anyway, so World Series been to, F1 I'm not ready for yet, and I love London.
Okay.
So if I was able to watch an NFL game, a Premier League game, and go to a London card show all in one time, I'm pretty sure my wife would make me take her as well. So that would just be a family trip for the ages. And last time I was in London, I tried to go to a Premier League game, and the cheapest ticket I could find was $400. So I ended up having to go to a Chelsea U21 versus Peterborough United game, and in Stamford Bridge, which I ended up getting into for like $20. So it's at Chelsea. I'm not a Chelsea fan, obviously, but I got to watch them play Peterborough, where Tony, who's now, like, tearing it up in the Premier League as a striker. So if you know anything about, he's probably a sell right now, actually. Tony, who plays, pretty sure he plays for Brentford. Anyway, and so he played for Peterborough at the time, scores 2 goals against Chelsea. They lose at home. I sat in the Peterborough section. It was amazing. Definitely one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And it was just a U21 game for Chelsea. But yeah, that was super fun. I'm choosing London.
Love it. That's a fan right there. That's a soccer fan right there, people. He goes to the Cincinnati MLS games. He's a season ticket holder.
I am, which is very exciting.
Well,
right
Lexington's close to Cincinnati, but anyway,
it's an hour.
He's a fan. It's still an hour. That's significant. That's a fan. All right. Do you have a would you rather for me, or are we going to go straight into the gauntlet?
Let's just go straight into the gauntlet since we're short on time.
The gauntlet is lit today, folks. I've got one for Kendall, and it's 6 cards. And the way we're going to do it today, Kendall, is ignore comparing comparing the price of one against the price of another card. Okay? So just pick the card that you think is more likely to appreciate in value. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because these were kind of all over the map with pricing, and I didn't spend time trying to equalize the pricing on each player, but I strategically picked these players for specific reasons. So
we're talking X return.
Yep. Just what's most likely to appreciate in value based on the current price that you would get it for.
All right.
Okay. First guy, Robert
Nice.
Lewandowski, 2021-2022 Topps UCL Ultimate Stage Autograph Gold PSA 9. This apparently is a pop 1. This is a gold out of 50. This dude is on fire for FC Barca right now. I think he's got like 5 goals in 4 games. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or Antony.
Ooh.
2021-2022 Topps Chrome rookie. This is a rookie cup also. PSA 10 pop 5 first auto. So it's a PSA 10 versus a PSA 9. Lewandowski versus Antony, newly of Manchester United.
I love both of these guys. I think Lewandowski is GOAT status. I think he's close to being on his way out. I'm saying he's probably 5 years away or less. And he's definitely going to go down as one of the greats. But he's on a struggling Barca team. He probably is not going to get significant minutes and other like big competitions. I mean, he will get significant minutes, but there's a lot more run here for Antony because Antony will get on this Brazilian team that is filthy.
Yeah, watch out, Vinicius Junior.
There's so many players that are like peaking right now, and they're all on Brazil's team. And like Neymar is almost an afterthought right now in this starting lineup. Like you have to try to find a spot to play Neymar in this top 11. You know, like there's just guys all over, and I think Antony ends up being coming off the bench, but he scores a couple goals. Look out! Like this dude's market is going to go bananas. So I'm going to say Antony.
We've moved him up in our soccer card rankings. We've updated our soccer card rankings a lot at nooffseason.com this week, so check those out. Antony is the winner of the first round, so he's going to face a guy named Carlos Alcaraz. Some of you may or may not be familiar with Alcaraz. He's the number 4 tennis player in the world right now, and he's only 19 years old. NetPro just dropped their first release in a long time, and it was an exclusive rookie card release of about 11 different Carlos Alcaraz rookie cards. This one happens to be the autograph out of 250 refractor, so it's still sealed, encased in the NetPro case. This seller wants $1,400 for it. I'd have to go to I did a write-up on nooffseason.com and the tennis card rankings. Go click on Carlos Alcaraz there to see what this card actually just sold for in the drop on NetPro's website. They're all sold out, so now you got to buy them on the secondary market for a little bit more. This might be a curveball for you, Kendall, but I know you always downplay your knowledge of other sports. So if are you going Antony or Carlos Alcaraz from España?
So I know very little about this. You're correct, but I do know enough to say that I think that people are assuming he's going to be the next Nadal. And, you know, like when Nadal broke on the scene, he was, you know, winning majors and stuff when he was that age. And with him being number 2 in the world, all sorts of stuff, there's a lot of comparison. I think with him going on out the door, you know, he's had some injuries and he's freaking lost yesterday to an American ranked 22 in the world. You know, so I think that plays into this price a little bit. I know he's his own man, but I think with him, people are kind of like trying to put their money into the next similar player. And that could show that I don't know much about this, but that's my uneducated evaluation of Carlos is he seems to be like the same sort of track, at least with the same fans. So, but I'm not willing to go there. The big 3 right now with are all out of the current Open, but Carlos, I just don't love comparing them to GOATs. Like you never know who's going to be the next culture's GOAT. You never know, like, and you can assume like for instance, Bronny, people are probably going to be like, yeah, he could be the next LeBron, or he could be the next, like we talked about,
Tim Hardaway
Colbert.
Jr.
Yeah, he could be the next
ceiling.
Yeah, he could be. So like, I don't like betting on guys thinking they're going to be GOATs when they're not yet. And so I'm going to pass on Carlos. Not that I don't think this is a beautiful card. Probably
it is a beautiful card, right?
But I'm going to still take Antony because I think Antony's going to have incredible range.
All right, cool. So Antony's
and I think there's going to be
up,
more buyers. So
Antony's going to go up against Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, shoot. I have a take on this.
This is a Trevor Lawrence 2021 Immaculate Signature Patch Auto out of 25, Pop 2, PSA 9. Sick patch. Really cool card. I love Trevor Lawrence's signature. So let's go Antony against the number 1 draft pick last year, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, this one is almost a no-brainer for me because of what I've been seeing and because of like what I know about markets. Trevor Lawrence has to do one thing good and his market is going to be back. And there's a lot of guys that have a lot of inflated cards, therefore his market's going to move as soon as he's doing anything good, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be incredibly all in the media again. Like, I don't know how I was able to get Trevor Lawrence in the 15th round of a draft last night as my backup quarterback. I think that is a steal. Trevor Lawrence was messed around with hard with all of his coaching decisions last year with the Jaguars. And now he's got his Etienne, he's got, his commonality, his Clemson guy back in the backfield with him. I think Trevor Lawrence has the opportunity to right a bunch of wrongs this year. And if that's the case, this card is going to go bananas as well. Because if you know anything about football card collecting, with it Pop 2, people are just going to be like, let's go. I don't care if it's a 9. It's Trevor Lawrence. I need it in my life. Sunshine back in the whatever favor. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence because I just know that as soon as he does one thing, he could throw 2 touchdowns in his first game with no interceptions, and this card's probably going to double.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do very much for this card to explode, and for many of his cards to explode. This card has an amazingly high ceiling, so I like that pick. All right, so this Trevor Lawrence card against one of my other guys, the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. It's basketball card buying season. This is $900 for a gold out of 10 Anthony Edwards auto. No, it's a sticker auto.
Yeah, so this came out. So I believe Recon comes out of the Chronicles set, I believe.
It did. I think Recon had its own release this year. Let me check the back of this card. This is Recon. So you're right. Recon was part of Chronicles initially. This particular card, there was a Recon release. Okay. So this is actually a Recon card.
I like Anthony Edwards. I think he's gonna be great. I mean, the Timberwolves team is his team. I don't care if Cat is on the team. It's Anthony's team. Cat's just like his Shaq to the Kobe. I think he's going to be really good. I don't think the Timberwolves are going to be very good. And so I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence here. To me, that this one's not close because of the Trevor Lawrence is the right brand. It's the RPA. It's all that. Recon is just the wrong brand. And although this is out of 10, I'm still going to take the graded Trevor Lawrence.
There we go. Good call. All right. Or Zion Williamson. Let's talk about him. This is the Panini Black auto out of 25. Rookie patch auto out of 25. Does Zion blow up more than Trevor? Let's go toe-to-toe here.
I'm also similarly, these guys are both going to have an opportunity to have crazy value runs here because their cards were so valuable at one point, and now they went down for such a long period of time, and now they're back, position themselves to have good returns. I'm still going to take the graded Trevor Lawrence, but I think this one is much closer than the Antony. But I do think Zion is going to have an opportunity to sell very recently. Probably in the preseason, he's going to see a lot of hype. So,
yeah, I'm ready to sell my Zion. My Zion cards. I don't have I said that like I have a big Zion. I don't. I wish I did, but I've got a couple Zion just base PSA 10s that I'm ready to unload. Probably will do that sometime next month. All right, so Trevor Lawrence wins the Gauntlet. That's a good one. It's relevant. We talked about soccer. We talked about tennis, basketball.
Well, I'm about to pee my pants, so I'm gonna have to bounce real quick. Do we have another segment? Do you want me to come back?
No, it's our last segment. I'll take us out.
Right.
So Kendall's gonna go pee his pants. Kendall, thanks for co-hosting the show with me today.
Sure.
You did a great job. Everybody, that was the Gauntlet. And thank you for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. We really appreciate it. You guys do an amazing job as an audience, commenting during the show, after the show, letting us know what you think on the Facebook group. Your support is much appreciated. And without you, this show would be nothing. But it's super fun because of all of you. And I encourage you to check out all of our updated rankings and content at nooffseason.com. There's a lot there for free. And if you need a premium subscription, because I know you do, I'm going to give you one free for a year. All you have to do is email me at paul@nooffseason.com to find out how. I'm going to hook you up. And if you're already a premium subscriber, don't worry. You are probably one of the most important people in my life because of that fact. So I am going to make sure that I have something great for you as well. Everybody, thank you so much again for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 46, brought to you by nooffseason.com. I'm Paul Hickey. Kendall McKee is peeing his pants. Everybody, have a great day.